Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about a very important topic, that is detecting fake text. So let's dive right into it. Now, why there is a need for me to make such a video? Well, reality is the more I'm looking into it, the more I'm realizing more and more people are falling into it. And name at this point in time no longer carries any weight. For example, name of publication, name of universities, name of the word like solar or science or things of that nature. It's having a very, very severe side effect. And amount of money that is being burnt, it is gargantuan. For example, solar roadway burning billions. Nikola hydrogen truck burning 34 billion. Theranos burning around almost 10 billion. So you get that point. The amount of money that is being burnt, it's not insignificant. It is so huge. To give you a context, that's like total development, this alone is total development cost of Falcon 9 development. Falcon 9, a real rocket that works and is first of its kind that lands reusable, and this same level. That's the whole point. The money burnt here is not insignificant. It's very serious. And on top of that, more of these sort of things happens, the more brain damage it causes to the society and to a person. Now you're like, how the heck it will cause physical brain damage? Well, reality is it will make you too burnt. For example, people who got burnt from solar roadway, they will have a bad impression of solar, and it is common, it is human. Like, that's whole point of our brain. It's like it makes a pathway. It's like, oh, solar, invest money burnt, okay, create a pathway, thou shall never trust a solar. Again, it was not the fault of the solar, it was fault of this. But again, human works like that. Like, that's a part of human nature. Like, human brain takes shortcut. Now that's the whole point. It will happen like that. There are many companies that are working on making true blood testing technologies, and many of them are like actually NASA approved. They are being used in by astronauts, like, and they are trying to bring the cost down, but nobody takes it seriously anymore, simply because blood test equal money burnt equals blood test bad. So that's the whole thing. This sort of situation has a very serious side effect on being burning people, which causes people to become very inaction. Basically, they will not react to anything. And again, even if there is a good technology which they can help, they can spread around and all that jazz, they will not do it. And even if like they have someone who's like, I'm gonna do it, can you support me? Just support in terms of vote and all that, they will not do it. And it is very significantly damaging to a whole society, and it also increases gullibility. Now you're like, wait a minute, how the heck it increases gullibility? Well, again, it will not happen to the same individual, but there are other kind of individual who cannot accept that they messed up. For example, let's say you invested some boatload of money into this Nikola system, hydrogen truck, and you, rather than believing that hydrogen inherently is far more expensive, and like it's so goddamn expensive, it's cheaper to make it out of natural gas than to electrolyze water and get it out of it, you will be like, no, he was just like, he was a scammer, like, technology is like any Tom, Dick and Harry. Next time we'll say hydrogen is like, yeah, please prove me right, hydrogen, please prove me right. And you will not do your due diligence, and people have suffered repeated consequences. Thankfully, they cannot do it multiple times, because again, you will be bankrupt at some point. So there is a very serious need of it. People need to be far more aware and far more cautious, because again, we do not have time or money to just keep lol around. And the bad reputation that it gets to everything, basically, magazines, universities, publications, everything suffers because of this. So this is very significant. Now, how can you detect it? Well, again, so far I've been the dumb one, because I was literally 10 years ago I fell victim to solar roadway. So again, it's not that I'm better than everyone else. It's like I suffered the same fate, and thankfully I did not invest in money into it. So I did suffer the fate, but I have noticed, created a pattern, and this pattern has saved me from multiple upcoming scams where I'm like, dude, this looks promising. I'm like, nah, this is just a scam. You just have to wait long enough to see it. So I have figured out some pattern, and this pattern is not absolute. It is not guaranteed that it's gonna protect you 100%, but it should give you a good fighting chance. So what are the hallmarks, quote unquote, of a scam? Primary thing is name, not the tech. For example, they will never tell you, it's like, what is this technology, how does this work? They will always tell you the name. This individual has developed a lithium ion battery, he has actual Nobel Prize. So the magical technology that he's talking about, like glass batteries or whatever have you, even though more than enough scientists have looked into it, it's like, dude, that's not how it works. But the name carries it. And like, I really respect the fact that the one scientist flat out said, it's like, if his name was not attached to the project, he was flat out say, no, So that's the reality of it. If the science is real, if the technology is real, they will never talk about it. For example, if you type lithium titanate battery, it's a kind of amazing battery. It's like, it's a very temperature resistant. How do they show it? They actually set it like, in a hot environment and a cold environment, and they never talk about who invented it. You will never talk about, it's like, oh, its inventor already has like 15 patents or 50 patents or this or that. No, it's like they will never talk about the person who made it. If the product is good, you want to talk about the product. If product is garbage, you want to talk about the person, the name behind it. And be very mindful, I'm talking big names here. Like that's why, like Nobel Prize kind of big names, universities, Berkeley University, MIT University, all of them have fallen prey to this. Publications, Forbes, Fortune, blah blah blah, all of them, like none of them did their research. Let that sink in. Like you are talking about a goddamn university to a goddamn like actual first world high quality journalism, and all of them are just like lol. So reality is, that should be your first sign. If they are talking about the person, not the technology, that is like apply some disc brakes. You go like watch Fast and Furious and like how they apply handbrake, like car magically stops. Learn to do that. The moment you notice something is like, wait a minute, why are you talking about that person? Like this person is from Oxford, this person is from this. It's like, no, I don't care. Like that person could be illiterate, I still would not care. Is the technology good? Because if the technology is good, they're going to talk about the technology. Be very mindful. This is your first indication. Whenever they talk about the person rather than the technology, 99% of the time it's going to be not good. So this is one of the things that you have to understand. And one thing you have to understand, like, oh, how do you know, or who are you, or you are not Einstein? It's like, this is personal attack that people will do every time somebody tries to criticize this sort of thing. And you have to understand this one thing very thoroughly, and I mean, understand it to your soul. We all are, I mean, you, me, every Tom, Dick and Harry, we are what we classify as people, meaning we are fallible creature, meaning Einstein made mistake, Stephen Hawking made mistake, Nikola Tesla made mistake, every Tom, Dick and Harry made mistake. That's the part of being human. Unless you believe them into alien, then it's up to you. Then you go YOLO, then you go Mark Zuckerberg YOLO, but that's up to you. But this is one of the first signs that there is something wrong. They will talk about the person, not the technology. Be very mindful. They will say like, oh, this is from this university, or this is from this publication, or this is from the big name behind it. Never ever fall for that. If the technology is good, they will show the tech. They will talk about the tech. They will never talk about the person behind the tech. So this is one thing that is like the first handbrake. Second, CGI. Now, this is the primary reason why I never use animations or any sort of fancy things. Again, they do take a lot of time. I know it will help my channel, but I'm like, I really don't want to do this simply because people kind of forget, like, you're not supposed to look at CGI. CGI is never a thing that's supposed to be shown for any product outside world. Like, for example, yes, there was CGI built for Saturn V. Yes, there was CGI, like, again, CGI, not CGI that you think today, and I'm talking like mechanical drawings made out of plotter machines and all that. Just again, there was some like physical drawings. Those are not supposed to be shown by the public, not because like again it's a top secret. It's like simply because it's not ready yet. That's the whole point. Whenever you are seeing a CGI or prototype of a car or whatever have you, you're not supposed to see it, because that's inherently means it's not ready for the prime time. It's not done. It's not cooked, man. So do not ever fall for that. Like, if there is no working prototype and if all they show you is fancy CGI animation, run from it. For example, Waterseer, Berkeley Institute, blah blah blah, magic, water from air in the desert, free energy. And reality was this, which is just a refrigerator, hyper expensive one. And you were like, wait a minute, this is CG, that's real. They do not look the same. That's why. That's the first thing you have to understand. Never ever look at CGI. If there is a Kickstarter and all they have is CGI, run from it. And you should always look for working prototype. And you have to understand this, anything is possible in CG. Many times, like, I'm not joking, like somebody actually talked about quantum battery and they showed CG image that it's working. I'm like, are you serious? Like, there are some that's why, like, I genuinely hate all these YouTubers of like there are some genuinely good YouTubers who make genuinely good quality product, but many times it's like just ooh, orgasm, this braingasm and all that jazz. It's like you have some fancy animation. I'm like, dude, you're not talking about anything. You're like, just quantum battery can charge your mobile phone forever. I'm like, how? If it's a battery, inherently that means you have to charge that puppy in. Now again, assuming it's some sort of magical 0-point energy technology which can absorb like gigawatts of energy, how the heck you're gonna put gigawatts into it? That's another thing. And again, what happens if something bad happens, like which happens, puncture happens, accidental drop happens, things of this nature. What happens in that sort of scenario? They are not talking about that. They're just talking about like magical animation. So anything is possible in CG. Do not fall for that. Like, this is warp drive in Star Trek Beyond. So never ever fall for CG. If they are talking about something important, Never ever accept CG. Always be like, where's your prototype? And if they are making grand claims, make sure you pay attention to the prototypes, and there should be quality photos of prototypes, not like barely looks like, you know, some like smartphone like from 1990 kind of smartphone. No, proper quality working prototype should be your first request. Like if there is no prototype, I'm cool. I'm cool now, because again, even if they're working on something true, CGI stage simply means it's not ready. Like I should not supposed to show you CAD drawings. Again, if I'm trying to develop something and I'm like working on CAD system, I can talk about it. It's like, hey, I'm working on this 3D printer. This is my CAD thing that I'm thinking about making. I have made a video about that, but you get that point. Like that's WIP. That's not final product. So never ever fall for that. If they're showing you CG, it means it does not exist. It's not ready. It's nothing. And 99% of the time, it will be garbage. So this is one of the things that you have to be very mindful of that. CG equals nothing. Be very realistic about that. CG equals nothing. CG, real. They do not look the same. And this is one of the things that you must drill down into your system. If they're talking about like stock footage with some like overlaid graphics of like, you know, green lines and battery technology, 99% of the time, it's fake. If unless you can see the actual prototype of actually working with actual details, I mean like enough photos where it's like, no, this is just hululu. It's like, yeah, it's fake. So do not ever trust CGI. CGI is just an intermediary. It's just something that engineers and designers work on so they can make a final product, and you're supposed to get that final product. So if they are trying to take your money, like, you know, for $2 million for this sort of puppy, anybody who gives this sort of thing money, they have brain damage. And please do not fall for that. Never ever fall for CGI. And that's why like I knew that hydrogen technology was fake, that, you know, it's gonna store hydrogen on this tape. I'm like, why are you showing CGI? If you are saying this technology is like so old that it has been blocked by military first, army flat out never does that. Like genuinely they will not do that. They will only do that for ICBM technology, and you will never be allowed to talk about it. And you will show like this is the redacted statement. They are not talking about that. And why the heck there is CG? It's like you've been working for this for 10 years. Why do you are showing CG? Like show the real prototypes, like as in like this is a physical thing. If it's not there, don't even waste your time on it. And this is one thing you must thoroughly understand. Humans are emotional creature. Why? Well, emotions are basically shortcut of basically it's sort of firmware of human mind, and it's survival instinct. Basically, we did not evolve from predator, we evolved from prey species. I mean like in between, because like again, we are not like strong as lion or cheetah or something like that. Like there are things that can hurt us. So we are not apex predator, meaning if we are in a jungle, we scare. And now what does that mean? That simply means every single response structure that is built into your brain, as in like hardware level, they are built on survival. And the best structure for survival is fear. The best management of fear is emotions. Consequence, your logic is the software that is running on the BIOS of emotion. That is the fundamental problem in that. That means you're emotionally far more vulnerable than you are logically. So your logic is like if somebody tries to, you know, damage your logic, you're like, nah man, me good. Now if somebody tries to damage you emotionally, you're like, because again, emotions are fundamentally vulnerable. So they will use what we call word salad. They will use fancy words, and this is your first filter. Only butter, like only good things are talking about. Like for example, if you talk about like amazing battery technology, I would say lithium titanate batteries are kind of amazing. LTO cells, they work at very high temperatures, very low temperatures. They are like surprisingly robust, and like this is how they show you, like this is the cell, there is a LED connected to it, and I'm chopping it half, it's still working, and I'm shorting it, it's still not going boom. Like that's the easiest way to convince someone. And like you can buy it, that's one thing, you can buy it, actually buy it. But again, it does have some consequences. It's like, for example, for every liter and kilogram, it does not match up to lithium ion system, meaning if you are making your bike out of it, it will have either a smaller range or it will become much bulkier. You get that point? Like there is always some salt to it, not only butter. Like, oh, this is the greatest cell, there is some salt to it. So this should be your first filter. Like this lady, I respect her. The amount of brain damage she caused is like, damn. Basically one coin. Like think of it this way, like this woman is so god tier powerful, like such a cyclops level power creature. Like Professor X is like, I'm gonna go to you, I'm gonna directly cast brain damage to you, and you're gonna spend all your savings into my Ponzi scheme, and you're gonna go broke, and you're gonna do it of your own free will. I'm like, damn son. Like that is one of those things that you have to understand. Butter is really bad for you. And there are some things that people have to understand, that you do not know everything, so they will use fancy words. For example, quantum right now is the new hulululu. Few years ago it was like nano. Like think of it this way, like when was the last time you heard Intel talking about nanotechnology? And they are making actual nano processor. Like how do we measure Intel processor? 7 nanometers. 14 nanometers. Like right now they have to go to Armstrong because again they're making even smaller than that. They are actual nanotechnology and they never talk about it. It's like this is made out of nanotechnology. But new scammers, they will like, we have used quantum technology with some nanotechnology with some hulululu AI, machine learning, blockchain, for example, for our patents. Now this is one thing you have to understand. Patent simply means nothing. There are actual patents, I'm not joking, from Boeing, like a big corporation, of a laser ignition fusion jet engine. How the heck patent office granted that? It's like nobody knows how to make a laser that is powerful enough to achieve fusion properly. I mean, like the biggest system that we have is a laser fusion ignition and the size of a football field, let alone making it compact enough that you can put it in a goddamn jet engine. And somehow they have achieved break-even fusion. I'm like, how? There is no reactor that has achieved break-even yet, and they have a jet engine working on it. How the heck? So this is one of those things that you have to. Everybody's like, oh, we have patents and all that. Means nothing. Means nothing. Don't even think about it. It's like, just let it pass you. Patents mean nothing. Like, I'm genuinely saying, patents mean flat out nothing. Like, I'm not kidding. There are like patents for free energy. I'm not joking. I'm genuinely not joking about that. So we have patents, carbon nanotubes, graphene, this, that, blah, blah, blah. So simply means nothing. It's only butter, only word salad, only fluff. So this is one thing you have to understand. If there is depth, there will not be butter. If there is depth, for example, if they are talking about the cryptocurrency, they'll actually talk about this. Like, this is our crypto exchange system. This is where we are, validating our system. This is how our ledgers are maintained. Everything they will talk about. It's like if they have built it, like, because every engineer, every programmer, or every Tom, Dick, and Harry who worked on it, they will be proud of it. They will be like, dude, this is how we want to talk about it. It's like if you ever talk to engineers from SpaceX or any company that actually developing, they are excited about it. It's like if you ask them, they're like, ta-da, here's the detail. You ask more, there's like, here's more detail. They will be happy about it. So be very mindful. If there is no depth, apply last remaining break, a pull parachute, drag parachutes, man, like flat out. That should be your first stop system. And anytime they are appealing to your emotion, you are pre-compromised. Emotions are not as robust as logic. So the moment they are talking about emotions, for example, when she was talking about, we're gonna be the biggest family, I'm like, why the heck money is related to family? It's like, they are not connected, man. They are not connected. It's like, we're gonna be the biggest family, we're gonna be like butter, masala, and all that. Just no. Like, for example, this sort of technology, it's like, we're gonna drink, feed the world. Like, tell me how much this making. You are not telling me that. You are telling me it's like, oh, we're gonna provide water to the poor people. Would you ever think of the children and all that? Think about the puppies. No, tell me what is the cost of this solar panel and this collector area and how much water it's making in 24-hour days and what was the relative humidity. If you do not provide me that depth to that, this means nothing. Because again, people can be fooled into, because let's say just like there is a bright day night, but relative humidity is very high. These things do start to work. But here's the deal: if relative humidity is very high, there is a very good chance of rain, and it won't be very high in desert. So this is one of those things that they remove that detail. The moment they remove that detail and they only apply some butter, it's like, think about how much life we can save. Think about like we can make a thirst to be a forgotten thing. It's like, no. Tell me logic behind it. Tell me numbers, hard numbers. For example, this wind technology is super awesome. Like there was this guy who's making a system where it's a bladeless wind turbine system. It's just a rod that vibrates. I'm like, there is a probability it does work. And again, I'm pretty sure it does work. It's just they're not providing information. It's like, what is the voltage output? And if it's the oscillating system, what is the frequency? And what is the root RMS of that? Like, what is the actual oomph that I'm getting out of it? It's like, is it like I'm spending $10,000 for getting 100 watt out of it? It does not work like that. So you have to be very mindful of that. Look for depth. That's the first thing. And if they're talking about butter and talking about emotions, run away, because you are vulnerable to emotional thing. Like, again, different people may able to trick you. So this is the reason why people keep falling for it. Because you may be like, oh, I will never fall for it. That simply means you have not met the scammer that is perfectly coded to you. Meaning all these scammers, they have different way of talking. They have like a different strings they pull on. Like some will pull on your basically family. Some will pull on your dog, because they know like you don't care about your family, but you care about your dog. They're like, but what will happen to your dog? It's like you will lose all your armor. All your logic circuits will be shut down simply because BIOS level access is directly provided. So be very mindful. Never ever trust emotions. Always look for logic, and working is never specified. That's the first. Run away. They were like, we are talking about like proprietary system. Run away. Run away. The moment they are talking about something like that, just run away. Don't even waste time on it. Just run away. Like many people fall into Bitcoins, like again, because nobody explained it's like how the heck it's working, and it's like, and nobody asked it. run away. But because they pulled on your emotions, it's like nostalgia, or like, we're gonna be a family, we're gonna be a big family. Again, you may be like, why the heck people fall for that? Think of this, like, how many marriages last? Marriage divorce rate right now is like 120% or 135%. It's like, yeah, second marriages are also falling apart. That's why it's higher than that. And the reason why states, basically government, will show you it's only shows 65%. The reality is, look at the timestamp. Timestamp is only like 10 years. I'm like, dude, we live very long time. Marriage is supposed to last for like at least till death do us part. Then if you do that, that's supposed to be lasting what, 60 years. In that point is like, 100% divorce rate is there. So again, people wanted to feel like they are gonna be in a family. She like literally, she found that resonance frequency, and she's like, your brain shut down, give me money. It worked. So this is the whole point. Never ever accept butter. Always look for depth. And if working is not satisfied, just pull the drag chute, just disappear. Now at the end of the day, I'm looking at this, and again, I have fallen victim to it, and I'm doing my best to never ever fall again for it, and I have succeeded. Like, there are two technologies that I was like, nah, this is BS. For example, quantum batteries. I was like, the moment they show like it has infinite energy, as it's like, and I'm like, can you please show me one prototype? No, it's just some word fluff on that and some patent drawing. I'm like, Alt F4. I don't have time for this. And especially with that hydrogen technology, I was like, it sounds way too goddamn to be true. And you may be like, okay, I'm just looking at some Thunderfoot and all that. No, I did a live stream about this, and I was like, no, this technology sounds way too good to be true. It's like something is wrong with that. Like, again, I did not did enough research, but again, enough was there. It was like too much butter. I was like, too much goddamn butter. So I was like, and once Thunderfoot actually broke it down, in a mechanical system. And again, I detected the CG part of it, because I used to be a game artist, so I can like, yeah, CG. I know it's CG. It's not real. So those things did taught me, and like, again, my stupidity in my early years made me a bit wiser. Again, I'm not immune to everything. Again, maybe I have endorsed some projects that are like, wasteful to you, but things like that happens. So, and that's the whole point. We have to keep growing up, basically learning from our mistake. And the one thing that we teach to our children, we still have to keep telling ourselves also, is like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. For example, the reason why people keep falling for Bitcoin is like, because they're not aware of the time frame. It's like same reason why people keep getting married in Western world. It's like, you look at Bitcoin, you will see nothing, and there is giant spike, and everybody focuses on that giant spike. Nobody focuses on there were like thousands of people who had Bitcoin, and they got nothing for it for decade. Let that sink in. For decade, like, yeah, I have some Bitcoin, it does not mean that much, and then it went up. So things take time to mature. This is one thing that you must understand. Everything that's worth its salt will take time. Like, it takes time. So when I will give you that graph, and I chop off the first 10 years where nothing happened, you will think, oh, that's how cryptocurrency works. It's like crypto just starts and tada. That never happens. And you have to understand, because if you remove that data, people are like, oh dude, I put my money, why it's not doubling yet? That's not how magic works. I'm like, that's why magic does not work, but you get that point. So you have to understand that, like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. This is one of those things that's like first thing. That should be your last cautionary tale. And another aspect is rush, right? There is a rush in our world correct now. And again, there are some good reasons for that. Like, again, we are kind of messing up the atmosphere, so we have to be like, try to tweak some knobs to control our system, and we are doing our best. But again, there is a bit of sloppiness to it. There is a slow nature to it. Now, it cannot be helped. This is one of those things that we have to accept. Like, it took us hundreds of years to mess our planet up. It will take at least that amount of time to fix it. It's not gonna be like done, fixed, everything is saved. No, it's not gonna happen like that. We took time to mess it up. It's gonna take time to fix it up. So this is one of those things that we must understand. Things take time to mature. For example, lead acid battery. How do you know there is a lead acid battery in your car? How do you know there is a lead acid battery in your UPS? Because they work. How do we know that they work? We have been spending 100+ year. I'm not joking. Actual 100+ year have been spent on it in order to make it that reliable, in order to be like, put it here, forget about it. Yes, it does have some limitation, but it's amazing technology. It does work. Like, to give you a context of that, if you try to replace basically lead acid battery with lithium ion battery, it will catch on fire. If you try to the amp spike, the only system that can directly absorb that kind of shock is lithium titanate, but again, it does not have enough capacity, so it's only a bit better than lithium lead acid. So you get that point. Like, every technology that we are using today took many years to reach that point. Even like cars were like very early on, but like the car that you have right now, it's very reliable. How the heck it became that reliable? It came through time. It took time to mature. So if any new Tom, Dick and Harry is like, we're gonna have a car, this is gonna be amazing, I was like, show me your prototypes, show me hundreds of failed projects over here. I'm like, now I can trust you, because things take time to mature. And because of this rush, people are exploiting it. It's like lithium ion, it just came to the scene just right now. Like lithium ion, like I was born before lithium ion. Let that sink in. Most of you were born before lithium ion actually kind of became the big thing. And right now everybody's like, next thing. I'm like, dude, lithium ion has not even reached its full potential yet. Like, yes, it is true that we have chemically mastered it, but we have not mastered it physically. Meaning lithium ion, if you talk about like how much energy it should have per liter, it's, let's say it's 400 watt. Okay, 400 watt, just go with that variable. Here's the deal: if you actually look at how much capacity is taking on a basically cell pack on a car, it's half of that. It's like, why? Packing efficiency has not been mastered. And that's why like I'm saying Elon Musk is focusing so much in Tesla, making cells bigger, because packing efficiency matters. Like, he figured it out. It's like, cell is awesome, the technology, the chemistry there is awesome, it's mature, we know how it works. It's just the goddamn packing efficiency. It's like, we're supposed to get like 400 per liter, we are barely getting 200 per liter because of the packing inefficiency. He focused on making the cells bigger. Then he figured out it's like dendrite formation is directly proportional to how much how much electron is flowing on one specific point. He's like, what if, rather than having one tab which is creating that electron point, what if we have tabless system, basically whole cell reacts properly to it, then you reduce dendrite creation. All that things. It's like, again, lithium ion has more than enough energy left into it in real world, where it's like in future you can have a mobile phone that has, let's say, a lithium ion cell that is 10,000 milliamp hour capacity. Not 50,000 or 60,000, but 10,000 is achievable. I have a cell that is 7,000. So you have to understand, things take time to mature. Like a plant takes time to grow, technology takes time to mature. And if you can't buy it, this is one thing you have to understand. If you can't goddamn buy it, especially with batteries, do not give them search engine optimization. And this is one thing you have to understand. That's why this YouTube culture is becoming very dangerous. Like using stock footage, using some butter, using some orgasmic language. It's like, oh, braingasm. It's like, it's gonna fix the world. It's gonna save everything in 5 minutes. All that jazz is creating such a bad feedback loop, because I'm pretty sure more than enough people who looked into basically Nikola hydrogen tech, they would have noticed like, dude, this is not how it works. And especially everyone who knows how hydrogen works is like, no, sir, that's not how it works. It's like, they would have like, okay, I'm gonna put your money, and it's like, look, going up, and they're like, okay. Some people would have like, okay, now I'm done. I'm satisfied by my 1,000-time growth. I'm happy with it. And some people would have been like, oops, I kind of missed it. Like, it goes a peak, then it crashes. So it's like, you're supposed to sell it at peak. Things of this nature happens. And the only reason this sort of things happens is because search engine optimization. Stock market is directly proportional to people's reaction to it, and people's reaction became like, let's say somebody is working on lithium let's say aluminum air battery, and they know aluminum air battery is not magical technology, but they keep creating an illusion of that it is magical, and search engine optimization goes up. The moment the company goes public, the price value goes up, stock goes up. And they can again, they can take that money and do more R&D. Most likely they're gonna keep the price that is so goddamn high that it cannot sustain it, and it's gonna collapse after that. So be very mindful. Do not give them search engine optimization if you can't buy it. It's like, if this is a technology that's like, it has nothing directly related to me, just let it go, let it mature up, let it like stew a bit. And one thing you have to understand, the only reason word salad works, the only reason why other systems work is we are not okay with not knowing everything. Basically, I have reached a point in life where life has enough bitch slaps me enough times where I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything, but you have to accept it. You have to like, okay, it's okay, nobody knows everything. It's just relax, just take chill pill with that. It's okay not to know everything. And that's how people apply butter to you. It's like, you don't know about blockchain, that's why I'm telling you it's truth. Like, again, you should be okay with that. It's like, okay, I don't know Bitcoin, that's absolutely true, I do not understand the blockchain, but where's the side effect, where's the salt to it? You are only giving me butter. And many people protect themselves just based on that, and it works amazingly well. So you have to be okay with it. You have to take a chill pill, you have to just relax, because things take time. We messed our planet up for very spending hundreds of years on it today. We have to spend hundreds of years to fix it. So this is one of those things that we have to grow up. You have to accept, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Things take time to mature. You're not gonna plant a goddamn crop and be like, ta-da, full crop. You'll be like, no, that's not how it works. It takes time. That's the same thing. Things take time. Be mindful, be cautious, and be okay with it. It's like, I don't know everything, so be okay with it. And if you have to invest, if somebody is trying to and your armor is cracking because they found your perfect resonance frequency where your armor is no longer okay, do not invest everything into it. Just little bit. So we all have to grow up, because if we do not, science and technology will get very bad reputation, and which will have severe consequences for our future. So if you have liked my video, enjoyed it, and learned something from it, I would urge you to press like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I would urge you to press dislike, press it twice or thrice if you want. I would urge you to leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.